Over the course of decades of training, I've come up with many techniques that I found out other people came up with first. One of these is called Fiore's block. I performed this block for a number of years with my staff, thinking I came up with it, only to find out that it appears in Fiore's Flower of Battle in 1410. That's how old this technique is. But here's how it goes. It is a one-handed wall block. Normally, to do a wall block, you need 2 points of contact. If one is missing, the staff will wiggle. So by driving the heel of the staff into the ground, I've now provided a stable point of contact at the heel, and my hand provides the other point of contact, and all I need to do is stay on the proper side of this wall, and I'm safe. You could also step to this side. Okay, so Brian and I are in our normal middle grip. I see that he has been predominantly fighting with the tip of his staff. I have the feeling he's going to throw a tip strike. I drive the heel of my staff forward, and now I push the tip with my left hand, and my right hand is free. Now, if he swung quickly with the heel, I can just reach out and jam that staff up. If I'm quick, I could snatch it right out of his grip. So one more time on that one. I plant, I block, I could grab his weapon and strip it right from his grip. Now, other options are to strike him. In Fiore's Flower of Battle, they pull out a dagger and stab the guy. Well, I don't have a dagger on me right now, but I do have my tiger claw. And by driving my tiger claw up into his eyes, I've cheated him out of 90% of his external stimuli. A man can't see, a man can't fight. So as I jam my fingers into his eyes, it drives his head back, and I could chop into his neck, and then I could grab his head and bounce it right off of my staff. Let's take a look at that combination again. I drive forward, tiger claw, chop, bam, and I slam my staff right into his head. We're trying to be careful on that one, but you can kind of see how it would go, right? All right, Fiore's block from Fiore's Flower of Battle in 1410. It's an excellent technique that you can put into your staff fighting arsenal. Another technique that you can use to catch your opponent by surprise is the disarming beat. Now, you already know the normal beat. The difference here is that I'm going to look for the alignment of his thumb so that I could strike his staff so that it will get knocked out between the gap between his thumb and forefinger. So if I'm holding my staff right about here, you can see the gap is to the front. And Brian, just use the heel of your staff right now to just knock that. Boom, it comes right out of my hand. Now, if my hand were thumb up and Brian were to knock that staff, it's not going to come out. So that's the one thing you're going to look for, the orientation of the gap between the thumb and forefinger, and try to direct your strike in that area. Okay, so Brian and I, he takes an extended grip guard. And so I get on the same side extended grip because this affords me a very strong snap strike. Now I'm going to step to the side a little, and now I can see a much broader cross section of his staff. If I tried to beat it here, it's very skinny and it's very hard to get a good solid strike. So I move to the side so I have a more perpendicular strike, and then I do a short snap strike and try to knock it out of his hand, and then I own the line. Now, if he doesn't let go, well, then I get just a regular beat, and that's good. But if you manage the disarming beat, you now have a bigger advantage. All right, Brian, switch your staff, please. Switch your whole stance and everything. There we go. Now, on this side, we're belly to belly. My best chance at a disarming block or disarming beat is actually upwards on a 45 degrees. So we're right here. I might cut under his staff and now do a snap strike up in an attempt to knock it out of his lead hand. So I come underneath, beat the staff up, and try to take the line. And again, if he only has one hand on the weapon, he's effectively disarmed because it takes 2 hands to use the staff effectively. Trapping and pinning is a surprise technique that you can use to grab the line from your opponent. So, Brian and I are fighting, and we're in the extended grip. This is a great time to trap and pin, because when he has a very long lever, I can take advantage of that. I move slightly to the side so I have a better cross-section of the staff. I slide up so that I have a shorter lever than he does. So I'm using the black part of my staff against the red part of his, and that makes it difficult for him to resist when I push his staff down into the ground. And now for a moment, he can't withdraw that weapon easily, and I can, bam, own the line. So let's take a look at that one more time. I move off the line, I push his staff down, and I own it. Now I can also do this with the heel. We'll switch sides. We're in the same extended grip. And now I could push on him, getting him to do a return press. And when he gives me the return pressure that I'm looking for, I could drive through, pinning his staff for a moment, and now his staff is under mine. Now, sure, he might be able to bring it up into my legs here, but I'll trade that any day for this shot that I'm about to give him to his face. So again, this one looks like this. I might drive in with a thrust, pushes it to the side, I parry him down, boom. Boom. And so for a second here, he is pinned between my staff and the ground, giving me a nice open line of attack. All right, trapping and pinning, an excellent technique you can use to trap your opponent's staff and catch him by surprise.
Your homework for lesson 7.5 is to practice Fiore's block, practice the disarming beat, and practice trapping and pinning your opponent's weapon. As you train these techniques, remember, at first practice them in isolation, slowly with a partner at learning speed. Later, try them in light sparring with increasing levels of noncompliance. When it comes to real sparring, however, remember that these are tricks, and tricks are not to be overused.